Hey, what's good, lads? So UFC Abu Dhabi is this weekend, and I'm going to be breaking down the entire card, giving my predictions for a pretty solid card, to be honest. Yeah, these Abu Dhabi oil money people, they keep getting the stacked card, and yeah, dude. Unfortunately, where UFC Perp is not going to get that shit. But yeah, yachts and just enjoy it while we can, dude. I'm gonna have to wake up early for this card. So yeah, but yeah, on to the first fight, guys. We have Martin Brudai versus Marcus Bruchacha. So, yeah, dude, this is a bit of a tricky one, to be honest. I mean, obviously, Marcus Bruchacha is coming from outside the UFC, from one championship. I'm pretty sure he also had a fight in another promotion, like just before this as well. Martin Brudai is obviously a ranked heavyweight, not an accomplishment though, and he's literally ranked number 15th. Um, It's a bit of a tricky one, guys. Marcus Bicech is probably going to have a shittier physique than what you would have seen him in before, considering he's in the official UFC testing pool at this point. But I think I'm going to pick him, dude. I feel like some people will be going with crafty Martin Badai here. You know, he's obviously got wins over. I'm pretty sure he has one over like Usman and stuff. Let me actually check. I just know that this guy has. Oh, he's actually ranked number 13th. Jesus Christ, mate, the state of this division. Yeah, went over Andrei Arlovsky. I mean, the corpse of him, to say the least. Lost to Shamil Gaziev. I mean, Shamil Gaziev's going to get the belt next year, so that's it's not a bad loss. And this guy who was a light heavyweight. So, you know, he has some wins, you know. He probably is somewhat deserving of this number 13 spot, but the thing is, dude, I obviously like to pick against guys coming from outside the UFC because they obviously don't have the skill of people in the UFC, but I don't think that applies at divisions like heavyweight and light heavyweight because there simply isn't much skill at all in those divisions, which is why I actually picked Rizvan Kuniev to beat Curtis Blades, which actually aged pretty well, to be honest. But yeah, dude, in divisions like this, there's just not much skill at all. So people from other divisions can come into the UFC and not get pieced up like Patchy Mix did, you know what I mean? So I'm going to be picking Marcus Buchecha. He's Brazilian. I assume he's going to be able to get a sub here or something like that. Maybe a round two sub is what I predict, but I would not be surprised if Martin Buday got this win. But yeah, heavyweight would just be even more dead than it is now somehow. So yeah. So Muhammad Yahya versus Stephen Nguyen, guys. So over here at the clinical MMA lab, we actually managed to get some blood tests of these two, and through that we managed to find out that Stephen Nguyen actually has a 99% greater. Yeah, dude, I don't know shit about these guys. All I really know is just rumbling that Muhammad Yahya is shit. He lost to Trevor Peek. He got knocked out by Caio Fernandez, which is actually not a horrible loss at this point, considering he beat Guram Kutateladze. Um, and Stephen Eugen, he's had one fight in the UFC, and it was a war against a nobody. I don't really know the guy. Um, Stephen Eugen's nickname is the Ninja. Um, Thought I'd just chuck that out there. Um, I don't know, dude. I'm not really comfortable picking either guy. I mean, this guy's from UAE, so maybe you could go robbery here. I'm rooting for this guy to lose because of this right here. But I'm not gonna give a prediction here, guys. I'm gonna collect data from what happens in this fight, and we'll see from there. But interesting fight over here: Ibra Aslan versus Billy Alicana. This one's very tempting either way, dude. But yeah, obviously the storyline here, Ibra Aslan was on a meteoric rise, you can say, towards the rankings. And then he got stopped by Ion Cutelaba. You know, he was knocking out guys like Rafael Cerquera. Um, and yeah, he just got stopped in his tracks by big old Ion Cutelaba, you know, one of our favorites. Um, which is not a good look. He also got out grappled in that fight, showing a little bit of a weakness in that area. But overall, the guy still is like a pretty big light heavyweight, and you can kind of rely on that physicality. Billy Khan is a former middleweight, so he's gonna have light heavy, I mean, light immense skill. Obviously, he's had one fight in the UFC, which was a short notice fight against Bogdan Guskov, and he actually looked really impressive in that fight. For the beginning of it, he was able to fully just out grapple Bogdan Guskov, just show him levels in that department of the fight. But then, dude, the ending of that fight kind of proved to me why I should pick against him because he did really break very easily to Bogdan Guskov. And to be fair, Bogdan Guskov does have power. He is proven. So he literally wins his fights based off just fluking a knockout, which is a very light heavyweight thing to do. But yeah, dude, I think I have to pick against Alicana for that reason. Ibo Aslan is also a strong guy. And I don't like realistically, dude, how much is skill gonna matter at light heavyweight in terms of the grappling? Like, I feel like Iber Aslan could just like wrestle his way out of some exchanges, and he could probably just knock out Billy Alicana. Um, yeah, dude. I mean, I don't think a loss to Ion Cutelaba is that bad, to be honest. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Iber Aslan purely for the fact that Billy Alicana just looks easy to break. But it is tempting though, I will say. You could put money on either guy, depending on who's the underdog, if it's a decent one. Um, I'll fucking chew, mate. Moving on, Davey Grant versus Damon Blackshear. Yeah, this is a really nice fight, guys. But dude, I'm gonna have to side with Damon Blackshear here. I mean, I don't see why you could pick Davey Grant because I think Damon Blackshear is probably the best guy Davey Grant's fought ever. This guy's 39. You can't imagine he's getting much better. And I think this is the best opponent he would have ever fought in his career, to be honest. I mean, Chito Vera, dude, Chito Vera is like the easiest guy to beat in the rankings right now. There's an argument for what's his name, Adrian Yanez, but I don't think he's as good as Damon Blackshear. Again, Rafael Assunção, not really, dude. I think Damon Blackshear is really fucking good. I think he definitely is ranked potential. Obviously, he got knocked out by Montel Jackson. But Montel Jackson has fucking massive hands, dude. And he has real KO power in that division. And Damon Blackshear also got robbed against Mario Bautista, so there's that as well. Really good aging win. And they're both kind of like rangy strikers. They're kind of like very kick heavy. Um, Damon Blackshear is way more in his prime than Davey Grant. He has a height advantage in this fight. And I mean, he also has a significant grappling advantage. Which Davey Grant, he was able to sub Rafael Assunção, but dude, Damon Blackshear's ground game is just different levels. I think he's gonna mix it up here. He could even be outstriking Davey Grant. And yeah, I think this is gonna be the end for good old Davey Grant over here, unfortunately. And I think Damon Blackshear is a good force. It could definitely force his way into the rankings in this run for sure. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be going Damon Blackshear, maybe by like a round two sub, maybe like that, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, let's move on. Mate. Oh, why have the UFC done this, man? Yeah, I hate this matchmaking. I mean, how are you gonna do this to my boy Muslim Salikov, dude? Yeah, they just fed one of the most grizzled veterans in the game to Carlos Leal. I mean, dude, obviously Carlos Leal is um one of the prospects that are most touted by hardcore MMA fans. I mean, he literally had the most clear robbery decision stolen away from him in a win against Rinat Fakhretdinov, um, which is incredibly impressive to just do that in your debut. And he kind of like beat the steroid allegations by going out there in his last fight again against Alex Morono. And kind of looking about as impressive, considering how good of a chin Morono had. And yeah, dude, Muslim Salikov, he is coming off a nasty KO against my brother, Sonkanan. Fuck you, Muslim Salikov. But yeah, is he really gonna replicate that, dude? I don't fucking think so. I think Carlos Lau is just gonna put it on him. I think he's gonna fucking knock his head into oblivion. I think Muslim Salikov is, um, he's gonna have a nasty time. I'm pretty sure this guy's literally like in his 40s. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's like mid 40s. Like, Yeah, I hate this matchmaking. They should have just given Leao like a shot at the rankings. Like, dude, we're literally in 2025 where Daniel Rodriguez and Gabriel Bonfim are fucking ranked. Like, welterweight's not as good of a division as some people think, purely from those two names being there. But yeah, either way, dude. Yeah, Carlos Leao, just give him a ranked opponent, dude. Stop giving him these fucking about to be extinct creatures of the planet, dude. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, moving on. Listen, bro, bro, all right. Yeah, dude, I think Bryce Mitchell is about to get robbed badly in this fight, to be honest. And I've honestly been thinking this since the fight was fucking announced, dude. Because, yeah, I'm being real. I actually do kind of like Bryce Mitchell at bantamweight. He's always been not really small. His frame is like all right for featherweight, I feel. But he's always had that little bit of extra flab on him, you know what I'm saying? And he does, I don't feel like he takes dieting all too seriously. This guy literally like is more concerned with the fucking radishes growing outside of his fucking barn, you know what I'm saying? And building his fucking barn by himself. So yeah. Yeah, this guy, but yeah, he's been locked in with his diet now. You know, he's been like I think a while ago he said he was like really close to making the weight already. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that he's going to show up well for this fight. It's only 10 pounds. It's not like welterweight to lightweight, you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I actually do think he's going to do all right at this weight division. Obviously, lighter man skill, Said Nurmagomedov. Um, yeah, bantamweight's really stacked, dude. I think the lighter man skill is definitely going to play a role here. But ultimately, the storyline here is that Said Nurmagomedov does just have a shit gas tank. You know, he was obviously winning against my boy Vinicius Oliveira in the first round, pretty having a pretty dominant performance to be honest. Um, I actually picked him to win that fight, and I was, you know, kind of getting into the groove there. But yeah, he ended up just like breaking to Vinicius Oliveira. Lot. To be fair, Vinicius Oliveira is a guy that tends to break people later on. But ultimately, dude, what that tells me is that Said Nurmagomedov is pretty much guaranteed to win this first round, I think. In my opinion, he's guaranteed to win it. And what does that tell you, dude? It means it's at least going to be 29-28. And, you know, I could see Said Nurmagomedov at least like getting some shots off in that second round. And realistically, I don't know. I don't think Bryce Mitchell could finish him in that third. Said Nurmagomedov does have all right wrestling instincts anyway. Like, yeah, and he's overall just a really good striker, dude. This guy did have like an arguable robbery against Jonathan Martinez, but Jonathan Martinez is good, man. You know what I mean? So, and the fight against Vinicius Oliveira, he was winning. So, yeah, dude, I think Said Nurmagomedov's good enough to win the first, and I think he's good enough to do something in the second. So, yeah, to combat that shit gas tank, he's going to be able to steal that first round and some of the second. And I think it's going to be controversial, and I think Bryce Mitchell is going to lose the decision or get robbed. So yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. You probably have to put you can't put money on Bryce Mitchell here unless you want to get heartbroken. But yeah, man. Put me on the podcast, Bryce Mitchell. Anyway, let's move on to the next fight. This is a really interesting one. Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov. Oh mate. Yeah, I mean, RIP to repping your country. But yeah, Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov did. This one's pretty interesting. Obviously, Nikita Krylov had a massive layoff. I don't even know if he actually went to war for his country or not, or if he was just fucking being lazy for the whole time. I don't even know. But yeah, he had a massive like 2 year layoff or something. We literally thought he was dead. Um, and he comes back April UFC 314 against Dominic Reyes in a fight that he was honestly a favorite in. You know, a lot of people were singing his praises, saying that he was like the boogeyman of light heavyweight. He's like a Yuri Prohaska with grappling, you know what I'm saying? And then he just ended up getting chinned by Dominic Reyes pretty early on. I picked Dominic Reyes, so I was fucking. That was honestly like that. Honestly, could be like one of the top two happiest moments of the entire year for me. To be honest, I was so happy for Reyes. But yeah, either way, that yeah, Nikita Krylov just ended up getting chinned badly. It was not a good look for him, obviously. And yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be picking him picking against him in this fight because he was you can't shake off the cobwebs in a round one KO against you, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, he does have the the momentum fully against him here. But I think he has the skill advantage by a landslide, dude, because Bogdan Guskov, I think he's been fluking his way through this division, to be honest, like hardcore fluking his way. He got into the rankings with a win over Ryan Spann, which he was losing, by the way, dude. He was losing a fight to Ryan Spann, a tit for tat battle against Ryan Spann. I mean, if that doesn't stand up to like, oh mate, like dude, for reference, Ryan Spann has lost twice to Anthony Smith by tit for tat decision. So there's Anthony Smith, there's Ryan Spann, and then there's Bogdan Guskov. And I think Nikita Krylov would have an easy time with Anthony Smith, dude. So I can't pick Bogdan Guskov. And then the second thing that kind of proved this skill disadvantage for me was the fact that this guy got fully outclassed by Billy Elikana in his last fight until again he fluked it because Billy Elikana just breaks in fights. Um, so yeah, dude, I have to pick against Bogdan Guskov here. I think he's way below the level of Nikita Krylov. Um, I can't guarantee this though because light heavyweight is just a division where a lot of the time you can kind of just like pick off a coin flip because it's like a division where like they have like close to the power of heavyweights, but they also have enough skill to where they can use that finishing ability. So then you end up just getting like two guys who are like pretty big, but also are like pretty speedy as well. So then it's just like a random whoever finishes who, you know what I'm saying? But I have to go with the guy with the much better skill here. I know Nikita Krylov is so much more skilled than Bogdan Guskov, so I have to pick him here, dude. If I'm picking him, I might pick him from a maybe a round three sub, maybe round two sub. I don't know, something like that. I'll pick him by submission. Yeah, but yeah, Bogdan Guskov, your time has come, buddy. This guy is not going to continue fluking his way through this division. I swear to God. Um, yeah, let's move on to the next one, guys. Almabayev versus Jose Ochoa. Now, dude, I'm pissed that Ramazan Temirov versus Almabayev was canceled because that was such a sick fight, dude. Yeah, just two guys from like the Ekistan regions type thing. And Ramazan Temirov, I honestly believe in Ramazan Temirov a lot. I think he's pretty good and one of the more underlooked guys in the division. But dude, Jose Ochoa's got the spotlight now, and I think he's gonna win as well. Um, now. Obviously, Almabayev was on a pretty alright win streak before his last fight against Manel Kape. He got pretty tuned up pretty bad in that fight. Obviously, there's a whole controversy with the eye pokes, whatever. Dude, I was just happy to see Manel Kape win, to be honest. So, but yeah, Manel Kape is a really high level striker, dude. I think he literally fights like how Israel Adesanya fans think Izzy fights. That's literally how I view it. Yeah, I mean, Kape is like just a stylish, like really good looking technical fighter who knows his shit, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's that bad of a look to lose to him brutally like that. Um, but at the same time, dude, Asher Almabayev is not really a guy that imposes his will too much, really, in the wrestling or the striking, to be honest. I mean, this guy, before that fight with Manel Kape, had a fight with Mateus Nicolau, which he barely won, if I'm being real. I picked Asu to win that fight, and I was kind of worried a little bit the entire time. Yeah, this guy just doesn't impose his will all too much. And Jose Ochoa, I think he has the confidence right now to just go out there and fucking get him, dude. I mean, he's had only two fights in the UFC, a bit of a red flag, but one of them is to one of the best prospects in the UFC right now, Lona Kavanagh, a really well-rounded prospect in his own right. Um, and then obviously in his last fight, sorry about that, lads. Yeah, as I was saying, Jose Ochoa, he obviously went out there in his last fight against Cody Durden, and he really just they had a competitive first round, to be fair to him. But yeah, second round he just went out there and posed his fucking will, and then just knocked out Cody Durden brutally as a flyweight, by the way. Um, and also, dude, I forgot to mention the reason I have to pick Jose Ochoa in this fight, he's repping Peru, dude. You know what I'm saying? And I have to pick him for that reason. Yeah, my parents are from Peru, so yeah, a little bit of law there. But yeah, vamonos, vamonos. Let's get a Jose Ochoa. He's gonna fucking knock out Almabayev in the fucking third round, or he's gonna piece him up and get a unanimous decision here. Um, yeah, let's get it, dude. Also, what is his height advantage? I did not know. But yeah, anyway, let's move on, dude. Shara Magomedov versus Marc Andre Barriault. Um, yeah, to be honest, dude, I don't think Shara Magomedov is that good. I did pick MVP to beat him, and I do think if you were to put him against anyone with a little bit of a grappling threat, they would also probably beat him. But Marc Andre Barriault is kind of just there to get beat up here. Um, he could maybe get in Shara Magomedov's face, make this ugly, but this guy's just been knocked out by way lesser opponents. I mean, he's been knocked out by Dustin Stoltzfus. Um, Not that good of a loss there. Julian Marquez, Chidi Njokuani at middleweight, by the way, not welterweight, Chidi Njokuani. I just have so many memories of this guy getting knocked out. Joe Pyfer, which hasn't aged all that well either, by the way. Um, Joe Pyfer's still one of my favorite fighters, but yeah. Um, but then his last fight, he did get a brutal KO over Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is a really declined fighter at this point, though. I'm pretty sure he got cut from the UFC as well. Um, so yeah, dude, this guy he's just not the level. I mean, Shara Magomedov is getting KOs over Armen Petrosian, and the fight was a bit hairy before that, but he was able to keep up with Armen Petrosian. He's beating Mikhail Alexeyev. These guys are just a level above Marc Andre Barriault. I could see maybe he could make things a little difficult by getting in Shara Magomedov's face again. But yeah, dude. And also, if it goes to a close decision, you know who they're fucking gonna give it to. So yeah, you have to pick Shara Magomedov here. This is a little bit of a mismatch, to be honest. But yeah, picking him by probably around 2 KO, maybe something like that. Yeah. Yeah, let's move on, guys. Kodian versus Marcus Mcghee. Again, dude, this is a little bit of a. It kind of reminds me of the Kodian Sean O'Malley fight because again, you know, it is a like ranked, really a really low ranked guy, versus Pyodian, who's highly ranked, and also Marcus Mcghee trains with Sean O'Malley, but I don't think he's got this dude. Marcus Mcghee is a less promising fighter than Sean O'Malley was on the come up, in my opinion. Jan's still the same guy. He's proven that he's not a declined fighter after that Figueiredo fight they had in November. His chin is still held up. He was able to prove that he still has the skill to compete with these top guys. And Marcus Mcghee hasn't had the best run in the UFC, to be honest. I'm pretty sure he's 4-0 in the promotion. Let me just double check that. Um, why is it not letting me do this shit? Okay, you know what? Hold up, guys. Just give me a sec. Best editor on YouTube right now. All right, there we get it. So yeah, obviously the winner over Jonathan Martinez, Gaston Bolaños, Peruvian guy, but we found out in his last fight he's a little bit ass. Um, was I right? 4-0? Yeah, he's 4-0. Um, but honestly, dude, like that fight against Jonathan Martinez is largely the reason I have to pick against him. Obviously, Piotr a phenom in his own right, but I'm going to talk largely about that Jonathan Martinez fight. Dude, I picked Jonathan Martinez to get that shit done. But I didn't know that he was going to turn into a fucking retard on fight night. You know what I'm saying? Because, dude, he nearly had Marcus Mcghee finish the way Marcus Mcghee was damaged from those leg kicks, dude. And I mean, to be fair, Jonathan Martinez has some of the best leg kicks in the game when he's not a dumbass. And yeah, that kind of just proved me that Marcus McGee's not that elite of a striker. He's kind of like a in close tight boxer, with a little bit of speed, and he's obviously a big guy for the division as well. But that's about it, dude. And dude, Petr is gonna show him fucking levels out there. He can mix up the wrestling here. He has way better leg kicks, leg kick defense. Petr Yan's just a phenom in his own right. He's also got a chin. Um, I'm pretty sure he's on a decent win streak right now too. Song Yadong, Figueiredo. Like, I don't see him losing to a guy like Marc's Mcghee at this point. Like, this guy's going like even in that Song Yadong fight, dude. Song Yadong is a tough out. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like he's like the tough out of the bantamweight division. You know, he's always going to be a hard fight. He's got like the athleticism of a Marcus Mcghee. But he's also younger and more of in his prime. Um, and Petr Yan was just able to mix in the takedowns in that fight. I'd also argue Song Yadong might even be a better striker than Marcus Mcghee. Yeah, dude, Petr Yan's just fought way better competition. Marcus Mcghee is not ready for this step up. Um, yeah, you have to go Petr Yan here, to be honest. So yeah, I'm gonna go Petr Yan. Probably by decision. I could see a Tico in the third round though, something like that. But yeah, let's move on. I will say, Movsar Evlev, you absolutely fumbled the bag by pulling out of this card. I was literally going to pick Movsar Evlev to get his first ever finish in the UFC, but he decided to pull out. I don't actually know the reason why, but fuck Movsar Evlev in my anyway, dude. Nevertheless, absolute bum ass. Like you literally had the biggest layup of a number one contender fight ever in a guy that was coming from the fucking PFL, and you decided. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna rebook it. I've heard that they are gonna rebook it for 319. And dude, I really hope Yair Rodriguez doesn't get a fucking title shot. But yeah, anyway, Robert Whittaker versus Reiner Ritter. This is a little bit of a hard fight, dude, because uh, I did pick Reiner Ritter to beat Barnicle. I'm really proud of that pick. I'm pretty sure it was like a mine. He was like a plus 345 or some shit, something crazy, bro. But yeah, I did pick him to beat Barnicle, but that was purely based off. Um, your just MMA experience over Barnacle. You know, I kind of envisioned a reality where Reiner Dorito would kind of just make the fight ugly and manage to get Barnacle down and just rain like 12 to 6 elbows. Like that was what was playing through my head. Um, just purely based off him having more experience. And he ended up like using some crafty techniques like you know, just clinching him up and just throwing those niggy punches or like a step in knee. You know, he used like his experience against Barnicle in that fight. But Robert Whittaker, you can't. Robert Whittaker has way more experience than Reiner Dorito. He's fought way better competition than him. He's only lost to elite fighters. Let's keep that in mind here. People that are picking Reiner Dorito, who has Robert Whittaker lost to? He's lost to Izzy once. All right, once. He's lost to Drickus and he's lost to Hamza. No one else in his middleweight days. No one else, dude. No one else. So I can't bank on Reiner Dorita getting this fight done. Um, the way he gets this done is by making this ugly, taking Robert Whittaker down and raining down ground and pound, or maybe getting a sub, something like that. But Robert Whittaker, I just trust that he's going to be able to negate that hit. Reiner Dorita is not Hamza Chimaev. Obviously, they are different styles of grappler. Hamza Chimaev is a chain wrestler. Reiner Dorita is more of a clinch him up and take him down, like using a little bit of goofy technique. Um, and yeah, Robert Whittaker's just trained too much wrestling in the last year, dude. Like this guy was prepping for Hamza Chimaev for ages. You know what I'm saying? He's not just gonna forget all that stuff. Um, so yeah, I have to pick him for that reason. He's also got like really good karate type striking. He, he's obviously got his famous combo he always does. But yeah, obviously there is that the storyline that Randy Dorita is essentially just Drickus Duplessis 2.0, and we know what Drickus did to Rob Whittaker, guys. But listen, dude, there is obviously that chance that Rob Whittaker gets finished by something goofy here, just somehow, maybe the step in something like a step in knee or something. But Whittaker has grit, dude. Like he was able to like grit to impose his will in there against Ikram Meliskrov, which is a win that I think is going to age really well as well. Um, Yeah, I can't pick against Whittaker. He's only lost to the elite guys. Um, he would have been a long reigning champion if Adesanya didn't exist. He has wins over fucking Paulo Costa, Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, the who's who of the division at the time when Izzy was champ. Like, obviously those guys aren't well, Paulo Costa and Jared Cannonier, but Marvin Vettori, you know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, I have to pick Rob Whittaker here. I don't think Dorita's ready. And to be honest, dude, those wins, he's obviously 3-0 in the UFC, all by finish. He subbed Gerald Meerschaert, he subbed Kevin Holland, and he KO'd Bro Nickel. But yeah, those just if you're if you know anything about the sport, those wins just aren't nearly as good as a Whittaker. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Holland, in hindsight, that win's really not that good, to be honest. I mean, Kevin Holland's kind of looking small nowadays at welterweight. You have to imagine that he was a sitting duck there at fucking middleweight against a guy like Reiner did. And then the Bo Nickel win, to be honest, like I really don't think Bo Nickel is even like top 30 in middleweight, to be honest. He's just like he just looks sore, you know what I mean? Like I'd like watched like a clip that of like video package of like Bo Nickel before he walked out to fight Dorita. And he was like wearing this like soy jumper, dude. And I just kind of like became way more confident in my pick after seeing that shit. So yeah, I don't think Bo Nickel is a win that's all that great either, to be honest. I was obviously insanely happy that it happened. The man shot win, it didn't look the greatest, but he got it in the end by sub. Things that if Brandon Ritter wins, this is gonna be like whatever works. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like some DDP shit. But I can't pick him. I can't pick him here, purely just based off statistics. I don't think he's ready. Dricus Du Plessis at least had a bit more tests in the UFC before he got to Robert Whittaker. Reiner Dorita's only coming off wins over Kevin Holland at middleweight and Bo Nickel. So yeah, dude, I just have to pick Robert Whittaker here. Um, and yeah, he's gonna do it for the Aussies tonight. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that'll do, guys, for UFC Abu Dhabi. Um, yeah, again, guys, really good card. I'm gonna be leaving timestamps in the description, and I'm going to be posting my recap for the event afterwards. But yeah, for now, guys, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.